Wow, look at this kitchen. Look at the size of it. It just goes on and on.
It seems like some of our cannier fans have guessed, but for those of you who haven't, we've actually moved to London. That's London, England, not London, Ontario for you Canucks out there. So in honour of our move to London, we're making an English dish, steak and ale pie. We've got some stewing steak. We're going to just coat that in flour, salt and pepper, fry that off with some olive oil, some garlic, which we've got down here, onion, carrots, this Guinness, which is Irish, but you know.
But we like Guinness.
We like it. Some sage, some mushrooms, some parsley. Cook that up in this pot. And then we're going to make, it's a pretty easy pie. We're just going to make a kind of a Yorkshire pudding topping and then bake that.
Lenny's just slicing that meat up into little cubes.
You can see little bits of fat in there. That's going to get really tender with an hour in the oven.
Look at the size of this bloody oven we've got. It's the super double wide model. You could easily do 2 turkeys in there.
I'm just making seasoned flour basically, which is flour with salt and pepper. We don't want that on too high a heat. Good glove of olive oil. Just going to make sure each piece is well coated in flour and then popping it in the olive oil to brown.
It's about a pound or 800 grams of meat.
We've just had some technical problems with the camera, so we've just had to skip ahead. And we've browned the steak.
I think in there, Len, we've got 1 onion chopped into big chunks.
Yeah, we've got 3 large mushrooms. We've got 3 carrots chopped into little circles and 2 cloves of garlic. We just have to saute that until the moisture starts to come out of the mushrooms. Yeah, that's 3/4 plus another 1/4. And a cup of beef stock.
We had to use stock cubes here. They're not quite the thing, but you don't seem to be able to get liquid stock in this country. I don't know if it's something to do with mad cow disease, Len, or something like that.
Well, I reckon if we search the back streets of London, we might find some.
And what happens now?
Deglaze the pan, I think is the technical term.
Those sort of cooked on bits start to lift off the bottom.
Yeah, and then we'll pour our mixture into
that bowl there.
Yeah, into this bowl right here. And we'll pop it in the oven at about 350 Fahrenheit.
180 Celsius.
180 Celsius for 45 minutes to an hour. And that's when that beef is just going to get soft and delicious. And because we've got the flour, having coated that, that's going to create a nice thickening for the sauce. What are you doing?
I'm just having a Guinness. Leave me alone. We forgot the sage.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We'll just finely chop. I'll do a little bit of parsley as well. Okay, so the crusty bit's really starting to lift off the bottom now.
You right? Mm-hmm. Just gathering up the last of the pan scrapings there.
Just want to make sure to add all those pan scrapings. That looks great.
In she goes.
45 minutes.
It's going to have a sort of a Yorkshire pudding batter on top. I'm told I have to get 2 eggs and separate the whites from the yolks, which I don't think I've ever done before, so let's see.
Let's see you give it a go.
Oh shit. Anyway, that's coming out. Don't want to get any yolk in the egg white or it won't beat at all. Oh,
oh dear. Just put it on that plate there. Okay, good.
Let's get this. Let's see if I can do better with this one. I think we've got about as much white out of those 2 things as we're going to. I'll tip it into this bowl which we had intended to use. Now Lenny's taken over making the batter. What's that there?
That's just plain flour. I've got to get a cup of flour and a cup of milk.
Well, let me bloody do it. I'm doing this.
Alright.
A cup of milk, right. I can do this. I'm not bloody stupid. Cup of milk, eh? Here, you take the camera. There we go. Look. Oh shit. Anyway, in here, a cup of milk.
But that's not a cup. 3/4 comes up to here, so you've actually got to measure it properly.
Oh, it's as good as a cup, isn't it? Really? I mean, come on.
But that's not a full cup, is it?
Alright, well, that's a cup. There we go.
I've never met a man who's had so little regard for actual quantities. What you don't understand is that when you're making baked goods, you have to actually stick to the quantities.
Come on! Look. Where does it say? Where are the... I can't even see the marks on this bloody
Back me up, people. I need some comments on this question. Okay, So you're going to whiz those together now?
Yeah, this is a device that came with the house. It's one of these all-in-one mixer blender things. We call it the Warrelator because it's marketed under the name of celebrity chef Anthony Worrell Thompson, and it's an absolute piece of crap, let me tell you.
Sorry, Anthony.
Worrell Thompson, putting your name to this piece of shit, you should be ashamed of yourself. Look, the only speed it has is... Oh, you got to turn it on. The only speed it has is 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Whoa, holy crap!
So I'm beating this stuff in.
Yeah, put the flour in as well. So it's a cup of flour. We're going to need a little bit of salt in there.
Salt, eh?
A teaspoon.
Yeah, that's probably a teaspoon. This thing's hopeless too.
Is that kind of mixed smoothly now?
I think so.
Let's have a look. So that just gets covered and put in the fridge for 45 minutes.
We're just going to have some simple boiled new potatoes as the side dish, along with...
We're just going to put some olive oil, butter in a pan on a low heat and do these lovely little baby leeks. Sautéed in the pan very slowly, 20 minutes or so.
So the steak and ale pie mixture has been in there for 45 minutes.
Oh, it's nice and brown on top too. Don't forget it's got to have another half an hour as well, so...
It's tender, it's still got a bit of chewiness to it. I'd say that extra half hour when we're doing the crust will be just perfect.
Now, because you added a bit too much milk last time, Oz, I think it needs a bit more flour. But before we do that, we need clean, dry beaters, and we're going to beat the egg whites with the Warrelator.
No, we're not using the Warrelator.
What? Not using the Warrelator?
Funny Warrelator can get stuffed. I'm going to use this Job Mate power drill that I got for 25 Canadian dollars in Canada that I humped over here in a suitcase. Put a beater in the end.
So, egg whites.
I think it's starting to come good.
He's been whipping away for about 5 minutes. Oh, very nice.
Look at that.
Okay.
That's the sort of stiff peaks you want.
So can we add a little bit more flour to this one? Whoa, holy crap.
Okay, so that's done now. We just need to jack up the temperature in the oven.
425 Fahrenheit, which is about, what, 220 Celsius.
Okay,
so that's quite a hot oven now. Because when we pour this batter on the top of the pie, it needs to rise up and cook. Maybe we need to give it 5 minutes to heat up.
Okay, so we've given the oven time to heat up a little bit more.
The egg whites another little bit
I'll
of
just give the egg whites another little bit of a bash, but they look pretty good to me. Gently folding. We don't want to knock all the air out of it. Just going to pour that on.
No, Woo, that's enough because it'll puff up, right? And if that puffs up too much, it's going to just overflow everywhere.
So that's ready to go back in the oven for 15 minutes.
At the 425.
At the higher temperature of 425 Fahrenheit, which is what?
220 Celsius.
220 Celsius.
We actually have left that on for 20 minutes on that high temperature. Another 15 minutes at a lower temperature now, 200, which is about 400 Fahrenheit.
Those leeks, we actually had them turned off for a while. We just browned them and softened them in the butter. Now that the steak and ale pie is nearly ready, we're just turning them onto a high heat. Going to pour some Guinness in there with them. And see if it sort of caramelizes on them. They should be lovely. Actually, I think we're going to have to get that onto the big burner here.
Let's just sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top. Just to get them caramelizing a little bit. Okay, let's take that pie out.
The moment of truth for the pie.
Oh, look at it. Smells awesome.
Looks pretty amazing too.
That. Wow.
Simple boiled new potatoes there, and here come the leeks.
I'm just going to sort of cut the crust first. Oh, that just looks so good. Oh, gosh. Make sure we get plenty of that nice juice as well. Could be a little thicker. Yep. Let's put some of that on the potatoes as well.
Oh man.
Let's just try a little bit of that steak. Oh my god, it's just so tender. And the taste is amazing. Let me get some of this pie crust here. Yummy. Let's try your little Guinness leeks here. I think these are a little overdone.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty good flavour. Perhaps a little bit bitter.
It is very good. It's almost like a really nice country stew.
If the gravy could have been a bit thicker, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
If we put a little more flour in, maybe.
I do like leeks. That's sort of a little bit chewy, Len, and maybe you need to take some of the external sheaths.
I would have thought that would have been okay.
Well, welcome to London.